All right. I think we're good. I think we're all set here. All right. USA! All right. We are back.
Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you, sir. It is good to be back. I'm not gonna lie. When that plane touched down, I was blasting the Hulk Hogan song. I was blasting like I said in the chat. I came off that plane like Mayweather versus Hatton with the Bruce Springsteen playing. I was locked in. I was like, yo, I'm back. I was so excited to not have to be polite to people anymore. Not have to be nice and like I took I had my duffel bag when I was trying to get on the train. This lady didn't want to move. I was like, yo, felt good to be home. Like, felt good to be home and to be nasty to people again.
You don't have to tiptoe around anything no more.
No, for real, because there was a couple of times like while I was out in Ireland, there was a couple of times when I was in the store or even when I was in the airport, like where people just get real comfortable. They're kind of sitting there chatting, and everybody kind of, they're in the middle of everything, and the people would just kind of politely walk around them. Like, that shit don't fly in New York, man. You get fucking stampeded. You try to do shit like that out here. So, that felt good to be back, back in go mode, But anyway, I unfortunately didn't get to watch all of the football. I only got, and speaking of that, I'm not going to go on a whole long tirade about this, but the NFL, man, these greedy fucking bastards. Why can't I get I couldn't get the Thursday game on Prime. That shit is digital. Why am I restricted from getting that shit wherever I'm at? I couldn't get the Thursday game. I obviously
last week's Thursday game, right?
Yeah. The Jet game.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Pats game. Yeah, I couldn't even watch it. After we finished recording, I thought that was gonna be one of the games I was gonna be able to watch. I mean, it was super late night. It was like fucking 1:00 in the morning out there, so I would have had to stay up to watch it, but I was like, I knew I wasn't probably going to be able to watch too much of the Sunday games, so I was at least excited. I was like, I'm going to catch the Thursday game, and then by the time I'm back, I'll be able to catch the Monday games, and I put on the Prime, I couldn't get it, I was getting aggravated, man, and I'm a little aggravated with the NFL and their greed. But shout out to the WNBA because I was able to watch all of the WNBA playoff games while I was there.
Now, how was that? How was that on the ESPN app?
No, on the WNBA app. It's actually funny that you say that because I'm wondering if you could even get it because I don't have YouTube. I don't have the YouTube Sunday ticket. I wonder if that is restricted as well. I feel like it probably is. You know what I couldn't even get? I couldn't even listen to the Thursday game through Sirius XM.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy.
I had to hit that Stream East, dog.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about trying. I'm sure I could have probably found the stream, but I was like, it was late. I had planned on just throwing it on the iPad and fucking laying in bed and watching it and probably falling asleep. But once I realized it was going to have to be a hassle, I was like, let me not bother. But I was able to watch all the WNBA playoff games. I was able to watch that shit on the plane. It was great. But yeah, so I didn't see any of the Sunday games. Saw both of the Monday games. I've been trying to slowly catch up on all the happenings. But as far as the picks go, it was a rough week for Word Life. That's why, he conveniently is not here. Because it was not. I saw that he actually commented on the YouTube video. And his
what did he comment? Well, no, I didn't.
You didn't see his comment? I believe.
No. I told you I watched it on the TV. I watched it on my TV.
Okay,
so when you watch it on the TV, it doesn't give you any of that.
Yeah, I believe his comment was. Let me see. I believe his comment was, I hate watching this after I lost or something like that. Something like that. It was like I watching this, and then he said he added in something about he's not gonna go up against the Vegas Saints. Oh, here we go. It sucks to hear myself. It sucks to hear myself be wrong. I'm never going against the Vegas Saints slick pick. So
Because the first week, I made my Vegas 0-2, 2-0 so far. My Vegas ain't slick picks.
well, hold on. Let me ask you
The
because I
first
was thinking
the
about that.
because the first week he made his pick first, and then I revealed that pick. This week I explicitly, like warned
It was a
him.
standalone.
Not
Yeah,
Yeah, and not
I
even
warned him
that.
too.
But I warned him in the even when he was texting earlier in the day, and I said, "Be careful." And then he kind of he said, "Oh, is that your Vegas pick?" And I said, "You're gonna have to wait to see." So I kind of alluded to it beforehand, and he still went forward after the whole spiel that I gave him. And you know what? Serves him right.
Yeah, I don't know, man. He's had a rough start to the season. I don't know why he. I mean, I get that based off of weeks 1 and 2 that there were some concerns about the Jets, and I get that based off of weeks 1 and 2, the Patriots were surprisingly competitive. But for me, if for no other reason, the Thursday aspect of it was the giveaway. Like
Mhm.
even if you hadn't made it the Vegas ain't slick pick, just the idea of that kind of line on a Thursday night between those two teams, it was just a total no go for me. And I just felt like it was a very obvious and easy no go. But I don't know. Word Life seems to really want to get involved with Thursday games for some reason.
Yeah.
All of the evidence is pointing to him really being into the Thursday games. So he wanted to kind of have something on the line for the Thursday
It looked like
game.
a slam dunk, and when it looks like a slam dunk, that's when you hit the rim. You
But
muff
did
it.
it look like a slam dunk? It didn't look like a slam dunk to me.
No, 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 no. To because um, it looked like a slam dunk to people who aren't looking at the Vegas aspect of it. If you're looking at it from just like the on-field perspective, like I was telling him, one of the things I said, it's not Jets fans that are making this line. It's Vegas. So like based off how everything has looked on the field, yeah, that's the logical pick. Like it makes sense. But it's
To
Vegas
me, I
making
don't
these.
even look at it that way.
I mean, I'm just trying to put it in the terms of like for betting purposes. Like if something like flashes, oh, like it looks like an easy pick based off what has happened to date, that means that there's something else going on underneath.
But that's I don't know. For me, it just never looked like an easy pick to me because it wasn't like it would. If you
Well,
would have
and
told me
it's
we're
based
talking
off
about
history.
history, I I
No,
don't
but
know.
that's
I
what.
just didn't see
But
it.
because yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. Like you are savvy enough in the betting aspect and how they make these lines and all of that thing to see past that. But given past history, like I said, one of the things I said, like there's the benefit of the doubt shouldn't be given to the Jets, like when it comes to the Patriots. You know what I'm saying? And that's what kind of highlights that, oh, if they're doing this, it's because like Vegas is seeing past all of that. So I don't know.
For me, it was a very
Because at the
easy
end of the day,
stay away.
because you know that at the end of the day, Vegas is trying to get um, people like the random casual fan to bet what they're gonna lose at. So it just made sense in terms of like Oh yeah, yeah. We're gonna because also, I mean, you saw that like on ESPN, everybody picked the Patriots for the most part. So it's not like it was
I
just
didn't
a
see
rube
that. Pick them to
pick.
win?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't see that.
Mina Mina
I mean, not
Kimes,
that I would care, but
Mina.
I
No,
didn't
but
see that.
I'm just saying like even smart quote unquote football like analysts, Mina Kimes, Louis Riddick. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a whole bunch of people that all picked
That's a whole nother level of dumb. If we're talking about not even including the spread, picking the Patriots to
yeah.
win that Thursday game based off of what?
Hey,
There's
I'm
nothing
just
smart about that. Mina
it's
Khan should be
okay.
ashamed of herself.
Yes, but it's all because of that, because of perception. That's what I was alluding to.
But I don't understand. You're telling me smart people perception. Did they not watch weeks one and
Bobby,
two?
I'm not the one who made the pick, man. I'm just trying to explain why they
I
you
don't
know
know. That just seems.
I try to explain why that shouldn't be the pick. You know you know what I'm saying? And I'm just trying to go through the logic in terms of like people who didn't make that pick.
Yeah, I don't know. But now we're getting now that's real wacky. It's one thing if you want to like. I don't think it's insane to take Patriots plus 6.5. I wouldn't have done it. I thought it was a bad pick, but I don't think it was insane. Or I didn't think it was completely ignorant. To have picked the Patriots to win a Thursday game on the road with that ragtag team that they're putting out there just because they had a couple competitive games week 1 and 2, that's irresponsible. Mina Kimes should be ashamed of herself for that. Anybody who picked the Patriots to actually win that game seriously should be ashamed of themselves. That's disgraceful. But
And
anyhow,
we're all seeing how Joey B, you know, the Bengals don't look like they're the unstoppable force that you know that we're banking on them being.
well, I mean, let me tell you, I was so upset about. Well, I wasn't that upset. I was upset. I wasn't upset for my money because I had purposefully chose that as the last leg of my money line parlay because I was like I wanted to give myself the hedge opportunity, but I thought the hedge opportunity was going to be useless. I didn't think there's any way that the Bengals were gonna shit away a game, a must-win game at 0-2 at home on primetime against that Commanders team. I really didn't think that there was any way. So that was crazy. I mean, and it really hurt a lot of my futures too because I was heavily invested in. But we already talked about this for the last couple of weeks. Just going into week one, so much of what I had kind of invested in terms of what I thought the Bengals had a chance to do and had a chance to be this year, based off of the off season. For whatever reason, we both
You called
smelled
it.
it coming into week one. We were both like, yo, something is stinky here. And I immediately started backing off of all of my Bengals positions. Just because I just kind of was getting the vibe. And it's weird because none of what we were picking up on going into week one was the stuff that the limited amount of kind of Bengals skepticism I was hearing in the offseason leading up to week one. None of it really was the stuff that we were looking at. It was more people talking about Burrow's wrist. The wrist looks fine. I don't think it's a wrist
Yeah.
thing. I mean, he still's been able to put zip on the passes. He's just
And
missing.
he's been hit too.
Yeah. So I mean, the Bengals have gotten off to slow starts, but I just thought that going into this year, I thought that they would be much more focused and much more on a mission. And I thought if there was ever a year for them to not get off to a slow start based off of the schedule that they had, it was going to be this year with that last place schedule. So the fact that they got off to a slow start this year, and I don't know if, I mean, it's not the end of the world because the Steelers are 3-0, but we don't know how. I don't know how much to take from the 3-0 that the Steelers are, and the Ravens obviously are 1-2. So it's not like things are totally out of reach for them. But I mean, I can't say that I feel super confident in them. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens this coming week when they go into Carolina, because if they take an L against Carolina, I think I'm going to be ready to say that the season is over.
Yeah, it's time to tank.
And
Ronnie,
honestly, to tank for what? Because
Ronnie,
like,
yeah, true. Because
where do you
Ronnie,
even go from here? Like, you have your quarterback. You should or are supposed to have your big time wide receiver. Like, this is the Bengals are not a team that is really. They're a team that's window is on the way down. The window's getting closed, not being open. So I don't know if they're gonna
yeah,
have to do. I don't know if Zach Taylor's gonna get fired. I don't know. Like, if they have a just total disaster of a season, where do they go from here?
yeah,
I have
I
no
don't know,
idea.
man. Because it's like, because Joe Burrow obviously is going to win you games, and I can't really pinpoint exactly what it is that they need. You know what I'm
Yeah, and
saying? So
that's the other thing is like they
that's what
I
makes
don't
it
even
difficult.
know. It's not like they're getting killed in any one specific consistent way. Like, I
Yeah,
feel like the teams that have had their issues, you know, to start off the season, we can point at, well, they're having a problem stopping the run, or they're, so and so is hurt and they're waiting for them to get back. The Bengals, I don't know what the hell their problem is. They're
yeah,
not
because
they
in game against the Patriots they couldn't stop the run. Against Washington they couldn't stop Jaden Daniels. And
and they couldn't convert in the red
game two?
zone.
What was game two?
Game 2 was the Chiefs game. That was
And in the
probably their
Chiefs
best
game, they
game.
actually, yeah, they played up to the competition, but it was just execution. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
man. I gotta be honest with you. I mean, I took them money line. I was shocked because I'm glad I didn't, but I was tempted. But to tell you the truth, part of the reason why I didn't take the Bengals against the spread was because I had taken them against the Chiefs the last week, and I just felt like having taken them against the Chiefs, that was you were getting peak value on the Bengals because I felt like they I didn't think they were going to be as bad as everybody was, oh my God, they lost to the Patriots, the Bengals, Burrow's wrist, it's over.
yeah,
They're going up against the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to blow them out. I never thought that that was the case. So I thought that there was value there week 2, but week 3, I thought about laying the 7 against the Commies because the Commies defense was crazy. The Commies should have lost the week before to the Giants at
mhm.
home. And I was thinking about taking, because I was like coming off of that close Chiefs loss. I'm thinking, yo, the Bengals are gonna be in a bad mood. They're gonna be playing Monday night, a little extra time to prepare. They're gonna be at home. It's gonna be prime time. They're gonna be getting a hit T Higgins back. I'm like, this might be the spot where the Bengals just kind of, make a little bit of a statement like, yo, we're not dead yet. And then they did the fucking opposite. They laid a total egg. I'm like, yo, that was crazy.
No.
So I don't know. I don't know where they go from here. It seems like they have problems on defense, but there's problems on offense too because they're not. The Burrow is missing receivers. They have not found a. I thought that combined with the threat of the pass game that they have with Joe Burrow, I didn't think that they would miss much not having Joe Mixon. I thought that the replacement of a healthy Chase Brown and Zach Moss would be
But
enough that they
they
wouldn't be
were they
missing
were
too
decent.
much.
They were decent in the passing game. You know, the running game obviously is something a little bit different, but in terms of like the short passing game, I feel like they did pretty well. Like both Chase
Yeah,
Brown and Zach Moss.
yeah. I think that I think but that's why I'm saying it's just weird because I can't really pinpoint what what they can fix immediately that's gonna make a difference because it's not
Yeah.
like they haven't been like they've been able to get something out of the pass game. They've even been able to get something out of the run game. The running game hasn't been totally anemic. I mean, it hasn't been, what I think they want it to be. But to tell you the truth, like even with Joe Mixon, they weren't a ground and pound team. They were still primarily a passing team with Burrow and Chase and Higgins. Mixon was obviously a good compliment, but that's what I'm saying. I don't think that they lost that much. I don't think that the fact that they're where they are is because they lost so much in the run game. There's not a team that's based off of running the ball. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know where they go from here. But it remains to be seen what happens when they have to take on the Red Rifle in
The revenge game.
the second yeah, big revenge game, and it's like their second home opener because I feel like the first one that first one didn't even really count.
Yeah.
So so yeah, the Bengals. I don't know what to make of the Bengals. They ruined my money line parlay, unfortunately. So your money line parlay got killed by the Bucks. That was a surprise. And Word Life's money line parlay got killed by the Saints, who I know that. That's why I say it was a bad week for him because the one thing that he could have held on to was like he nailed. It was starting to look like he nailed the Saints. Like
Yeah.
we both were kind of like very down on the Saints coming into the season, and they got off to a real hot start. Games 1 and 2, it looked like they were going on their way to being the team to beat in the NFC. I never really thought that was going to be the case, but I was starting to kind of open my mind to it because I was surprised by obviously not the first game against. I don't think that any of the Bryce Young Panthers starts. I don't think that there's any information to be taken from those first two games. Like what the Saints did to them in game 1 tells me nothing, and what the Chargers did to them in game 2 tells me nothing about the Chargers. And truth be told, I don't even know if I take too much from game 3, but like I never was willing to, rest my head on, wow, look what the Saints did to the Panthers, that they're going to have a good season. I was impressed by their
Yeah.
win against the Cowboys, but what are the
The
Cowboys?
Cowboys
We don't
won
even
that.
know what they are.
Yeah, but that was, well, obviously I got burned by that one, but um, the Cowboys are good at in the beginning of the season. Like I think last year they put up, I think it was 70. Their first two games, it was 70 to like 7 or 70 to 10.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's something that like I thought you could count on, and the Saints came in. Granted, I was in a I'm not a believer in the Saints, but I was starting to think, man, maybe this team is a lot better than I thought. And the team came, I guess they came kind of back down to earth. Like it shifted from obviously an offensive game in the first 2 weeks where they could kind of do everything they wanted to do. It like for example, like Rashid Shaheed, there was the first two games in the season. He scored long touchdowns or whatever, and there was two plays that that could have changed that game. That one that Rashid Shaheed didn't hold on to, and the other one that it got defense. So it was like, did some of this stuff like they just caught teams off guard in the first 2 weeks, and then kind of like once you start preparing for them, it kind of changes the whole game.
Yeah, yeah. I think that you're spot on with that because I'm starting to think, and again, I don't want to take too much from anything we see in these first couple of weeks, but it seems to me as though, like you were saying, I feel like with a new offensive coordinator, they seem to be running a much different offense than they were running last year, and I feel like if teams are going into weeks 1 and 2 preparing for last year's Saints on offense, they got a serious shock by a lot of the different things they were doing, particularly with a lot of motion. But it seems like by the time week 3 came around, they were more prepared, and I don't know if they're going to be able to have that same type of success. But I mean, it remains to be seen. I forget who the Saints have this coming week, but I don't know. I still don't know what to make of the Saints, but unfortunately, they killed the Word Life money line parlay. And he didn't take them against the spread, right? No, the Bucks. That was the
No, he
thing.
did.
He did.
He
Oh
took
yeah,
them
that's
against the
right. He had
spread.
them at the 1 point pick. That's right. He had the Saints. Yeah, double down on the Saints. Your double down on Minnesota worked out well. Your old friend Sam Darnold is really coming through for you.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
he avoided
he's looked
major
good,
injuries. So
man. He avoided major injury to the, what was it, ankle or the knee? because I think he has a bone bruise in his knee,
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
But I don't
yep,
get it because there was a couple. It seems like a bone bruise is always like a 2 to 4 week injury. Because I know that's what happened with Zach Wilson a couple years ago. It happened with Morgan Moses this past week. It just seems like when you get a bone bruise, it lasts longer than day to day. But who knows? I mean, it seems like Sam Darnold's everything's a full go this week, but who knows? Like the way that they manipulate the injury reports and everything like that. But I don't know. Wait to see on that one. Um, but yeah, he actually came through, man, and it wasn't even close. The Like I said, I wasn't buying the way that the Texans have been winning games these first 2 weeks,
yeah,
and it kind of showed up a little bit, man. And it's kind of like the thing that what kind of waited because, like I said, at some point during the summer, it's not like CJ Stroud is going to keep getting better. Like he didn't start there and is going to keep getting better from there.
yeah,
Like that's pretty much an unprecedented season, especially as a rookie season. And from there, it's kind of just like you kind of sit back, and if people figure out what you're doing, it's not like a gradual like getting gradually better. It's actually like you got so high up there and so many accolades that you gotta work hard to maintain. And it just kind of seems like it's kind of like 'cause also think about who they beat. It was the Colts who gave away the game, and who did they beat in the
and
second
Bears.
game? The Bears, who the Caleb Williams tried his damnedest to give away that game multiple times, and the defense was trying its hardest. They kept getting the ball back, and they just couldn't make it happen. So that kind of sold me on maybe something's a little bit off with the Texans, but I mean they're still a good team. I'm not going to doubt that, but just in terms of like the Vikings look like a legit team because of the way they're playing overall ball. You know?
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I thought I gotta give O'Connell credit because I thought that once
Her cousins, JJ
McCarthy,
McCarthy. Okay,
JJ McCarthy. What's his? I guess it's JJ. Whatever. JJ McCarthy. I was thinking of a name
Justin
for him.
Jefferson
I'm
McCarthy.
thinking. I was about to say Jesse McCarthy, but isn't that like a singer or something?
Yeah, that's Eric Decker. Is it Eric Decker's? No, that's Jesse James. That's a JJ. No, Jesse McCarthy. Who knows?
I think it's Jesse McCartney. I think that might be what I'm thinking of. But anyway,
Mm,
I once he got injured, I thought that it was going to kind of be a throwaway season for the Vikings, but clearly not. I mean, they're clearly looking to contend. The defense is way better than I thought they were going to be. Sam Darnold has obviously been way better than I thought he was going to be. But I guess we should have because I have thought that they have a good head coach, so I guess I shouldn't be super shocked that Darnold has been productive. But I mean, I don't think anybody could say that they genuinely thought Sam Darnold had this in him. But it's only 3 weeks. We'll see what happens. We see where they go. But I mean, they're looking like they might be trying to put a little bit of a season together, surprisingly.
yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see because I feel like they still have a big time team in the division with the Lions, and the other two teams, the
And the
Bears.
Lions, not looking, you know, not looking as good as they did last year. Off big expectations.
Yeah, uh, they had that one hiccup against the Bucks, but like I said before, I think if they just kind of stick to their strengths, there's not. I don't see anybody in the. I don't see anybody if they maintain, running the ball the way that they know that they can and should. I don't really think that there's any teams in the NFC that I would put clearly better than the Lions. But either way, they
Yeah,
have a
that's true.
competitive team in the division in the Lions. And the other two teams in the division, Green Bay, we're still waiting to see what happens when Jordan Love comes back. But I think that they can expect, they've been competitive even without him, obviously. So I think
Yeah.
that they're going to be
Time to time to
heard
start
from.
pivoting off of counting them out.
Yeah.
Because I've been 2 weeks in a row I've taken an L on that one. So I think I'm that's another team that I'm just gonna step back and say, you know what, you got this.
Yeah, and we got to give credit to LaFleur, man, because I've always kind of been a little bit unsure about
Le
what kind of a
Fleur.
coach. There's been kind of has it the LaFleur book has not been written because, anytime you have a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers and you come in the midst of his tenure, we don't really know what kind of how much of an imprint he even had on that offense. But now it's looking like he might know what he's doing when it comes to offense. So I got to give him credit for that. And
Yeah.
and even the Bears clearly have problems, but they have a good defense, and that's a team that on offense I think we should expect to get better. I don't know what their ceiling will ultimately be this
Man.
season,
But
but
have you
with a
seen that
rookie
offensive
quarterback
line?
and all these new pieces that they have there, you knew it was going to take time for them to get it together, but the defense is there. So it's going to be a tough battle for the Vikings in that division because it's going to be competitive no matter what, but they've definitely gotten off to a good start.
Yeah, that Viking that the Bears team reminds me of Zach Wilson in the second year, where the defense does everything they can. Like they keep giving you the ball back. They keep, making big stops on fourth down and everything like that. And every time they get the ball back and they give it back to the defense gives back the ball to the offense and they can't do anything with it. It's like the if they had well, because I don't want to blame it all on obviously I don't want to blame it all on Caleb Williams because that offensive line, let me tell
Offensive
you,
line is a disaster.
horrendous
Disaster.
offensive line. But the way that they like the way that they keep giving the ball back and they keep getting turnovers and they keep, grinding and actually keeping all of these games close, man. It's like if it just clicks a little bit for Caleb and he's able to, do some of this stuff outside of the pocket that kind of like mitigates a little bit of how bad the offensive line is. This team has potential, man, but like on that goal line play with the flip to DeAndre Swift, man, they had like three offensive linemen on the floor, man, and that was at the pitch. That was, you know what I'm saying? It was just like you feel bad, and especially when you kind of like remember how bad of a coach we thought that Matt Eberflus was before he went on the little streak. That now we're seeing how, Justin Fields is doing in Pittsburgh and stuff. It's almost like shit, man. Maybe it was better if they just lost those games as opposed to, like because that's a part because the actual getting Caleb Williams had nothing to do with tanking. It's like a weird situation where it's like, yeah, they could have won games and it didn't change anything for them, but like had they lost those games and made it like more palatable to fire Matt Eberflus, and maybe you get a whole like, kind of like the situation that you get with Jaden Daniels, where it's like, oh, we kind of know that we're going to draft Jaden Daniels, so let's draft somebody that kind of like matches up his system, matches up with skill sets and everything like that, as opposed to this lame duck coach that we kind of knew wasn't that good to begin with, and being forced to stick with him because he won a couple more games than he was supposed to. It's kind of I feel like it's teetering on a lost season.
Yeah, and I was just kind of surprised because I thought they should have fired Eberflus just because of the fact that he had a shot. He had a shot with a young quarterback with talent, and he couldn't get it done. And I just feel like the NFL is not about what's fair. Whether it was fair for him to get fired or not, they were a team that was doing a reset at minimum, if not a rebuild, and he's gonna get fired if it doesn't work out with Caleb Williams. And why do the whole thing with Caleb Williams that they did with Justin Herbert, where you're having all these different coaches? Like, we've seen how that has worked out for Daniel Jones. We've seen how that has worked out for many different teams that have had these young quarterbacks, and they draft a young quarterback and bring him into a coach that is hanging on by a fucking thread. And it's like, when has that worked out? The only time that a quarterback has saved the head coach's job, I think, is Zach Taylor. I
Yeah.
can't really point
And
to
and now
another
and now we see the
young
warts popping
quarterback.
up there as well.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I can't really point to another situation where a young quarterback has come in where a coach is like, spending the last couple of seasons fighting for his job, and then all of a sudden things all work out. Like, Eberflus is going to get fired. And at minimum, if they didn't fire Eberflus, I think they should have brought in a more seasoned and a more established offensive coordinator, because this guy Waldron, what did he do and what did he prove in Seattle? I don't really think that he did anything super impressive in Seattle that you thought, I'm gonna hand the keys to this. I'm gonna have him be the guy who's gonna groom my young potential assumed to be superstar quarterback.
Well,
Like, I
because
don't
on top
understand
of
why
that,
they
it's
don't
like,
put more effort into pairing these young quarterbacks with like big time coaches.
well, I mean, the difficult part about that is just like the lame duck status of Matt Eberflus makes that a little bit more difficult to be able to entice, like a big time offensive coordinator to pair with a head coach that might be on the outs. But also, I mean, in the resurgent year of Geno Smith, wasn't it Dave Canales who was the um the offensive coordinator?
I can't remember. I can't remember what the roles
Or was
were.
it
I
or
can't
the
remember. He
or
was.
the
I think he might have been. I can't remember if he was a coordinator or
or
if he
the
was quarterback coach.
quarterback coach?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
you saw Gino took a little bit of a step back last year, and
last year, yeah.
the Seahawks to me, I felt like the Seahawks did not live up to their talent offensively last season. Like, I don't think that they should have been a playoff team, win the division or anything like that. But I just felt like overall, given what they had in terms of they didn't seem to get anything out of Jackson Smith and Jigba last year. And you already heard that Jackson Smith and Jigba has been saying he's glad that this nigga's gone.
Yeah,
Like, that they're
that's always a
better
red
off
flag.
without having him there. So I mean, obviously that they had already made the hire, so it was too late by then anyway. It's not like they were going to be impacted by that, but I don't know. We'll see what happens with the Bears. Hopefully, I think that, and it's also really tough. Like, as much as you want to get weapons for a young receiver, anytime, excuse me, a young quarterback. Anytime you're bringing in a young quarterback and you're prioritizing the weapons at the expense of the O line and the run game, I feel like you're working backwards. Like, I feel
Yeah,
like the O line is the first thing you want to have that can, so you can have complementary football and you don't have, why are you setting up Caleb Williams in his first year to, okay, we're going to have to win on offense by throwing 40, 50 times a game. Like,
and
they
also,
didn't even do
man,
that with C.J. Stroud.
and it's crazy because like if you see how important it is to have like the good weapons. Like obviously we're seeing that in the case of Justin Jefferson and Sam Darnold, right?
Yeah,
But what's overlooked there is like the Vikings have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. So like for example, like in the case of Caleb Williams, because in a lot of cases that's where like quarterbacks get messed up. is not being able, not being able to execute because their timing is off and everything like that, right? So we can see like in a case like for example the Chicago Bears, like when people do the rundown of like, oh, this is one of the best situations you can that a number one pick has gone into. You have a first round draft pick, a first round draft pick, a top 10 draft pick in Roma Dunze. You've got DJ Moore, one of the best receivers. You got Keenan Allen. You got a running back, DeAndre Swift. You have all of these weapons, and you have Cole Kmet or whatever. But people don't look at the non-sexy positions when it comes to that. Like the biggest difference between the Giants, the Jets this year, and how the offenses have looked the last couple of weeks, it's solely because of the offensive lines.
Yeah.
And and when you see like for example like in the case of the in the Bears, oh the sexiest pick obviously is Roma Dunze, right? But maybe they should have picked one of the offensive linemen. And maybe you don't have uh three rushers coming at Caleb Williams as soon as he snaps the ball. So it's like some of that stuff is like everybody talks about offensive line, but when it comes to when it comes to like actually doing it,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, you know what? Roma Dunze or Olufashano. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a big it's like you can sell this, like you can sell the wide receiver. But like for example, this past week, what happened with the Jets, it's like, everybody was saying how, like hating on the Joe Douglas for drafting Olufashano and him being on the bench, right? They should have drafted Brock Bowers because Brock Bowers looks great, right? But now Morgan Moses is out for 2 to 4 weeks, and they were able to plug in a first round pick at right tackle, and they didn't really miss a beat when he went down. So it's like some of those things. It's like, like the flashy always sells, and you can't go wrong with the flashy, like in terms of like, oh, when they're doing draft grades and all of this stuff. But at the end of the day, man, the difference between having an offensive line and having time to throw is way bigger of a difference than it is like the difference between like having a star wide receiver and not having somebody who could throw it to.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why and that's why, and that's what I was alluding to when I say that the mistake when you're, setting up a young quarterback to succeed, and you're prioritizing getting all of these pieces and all these weapons as opposed to prioritizing building an O line and a run game, because it's like you didn't even you didn't even Roma Dunza, you drafted him as a third receiver. You already knew you had DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. Like, you already had two quality receivers on the squad. Now you were just getting a little too cute and drafting luxuries when your old line was not set, was not a strength. And that I feel like might have been a mistake, but I think it remains to be seen. Maybe the old line needs some time to continue to mesh. I don't know. I mean, for me, the scary thing is when you have an old line that can't. Usually, even bad old lines, they can do something. Like they can. A
Either
lot of
run
bad old
block
lines that
or
they can't pass protect, but they could run block. Or you have bad old lines that can't really run block, but they're decent pass protect. They're getting nothing out of the run game or pass protection. So
yeah.
that's a bit of a problem. But it remains to be seen what. Like I said, I think that I can't really close the book on what the Chicago Bears will be from an offensive standpoint this year, because we got to give them a little bit more time. But there's definitely some questions to be asked there.
Well, I mean, just to highlight on that point of the offensive line, we see the difference that the offensive line coach, for example, in Cleveland with Bill Callahan moving from
Oh yeah, they missed Bill
moving
Callahan.
over to Tennessee Titans. That offensive line is no good, and I know they've had injuries, but man, that's rough over there, man. 8 sacks to give up. And I know I'm going to go out and say, you don't root for bad things to happen to any athlete, but I feel pretty safe about rooting for bad things to happen for Deshaun Watson. So I'm kind of glad this is happening to him. He's cooked. Uh, there's a lot of evidence to suggest that he's cooked now, and that offensive line doesn't look as good as it has. Like we're talking about a top three offensive line the last 5 years. That's no longer the case, and Deshaun Watson looking as bad as he has, and having that performance against like that Giants defensive line having that performance against that team, it it makes the defense and how good they are null and void. Because like when you can't stop the run, you can't um defend the pass. If your offense can't drag it out and like give you some rest on the offensive side, your team is cooked. So that's one team I can say for sure is their season is down the drain.
Wow. Well, the one good thing about the whole Deshaun Watson situation is that if you're uncomfortable, which I'm not, but if for whatever reason you're uncomfortable rooting against Deshaun Watson, you don't have to root. You don't have to look at it as rooting against him. You could just be rooting for Jameis. You don't have to root against that Deshaun Watson.
No,
You're
yeah,
just
yeah, that's a
rooting
good point.
to
But I
see
just
some
think the amount
Jameis.
of I just think the amount of money that they owe is going to make that very difficult. And I don't think that we're
Whether
going
it's
to get
difficult or
that.
not, I'm just saying from a rooting standpoint, we
Oh,
can
okay, yeah.
root. We can. I don't
Him
imagine.
getting it would
I
actually be
think at some
electric.
point that if he continues to be as horrendous, I don't think that they'll money or not. I
Or
think
he's
they
gonna
might
fake
be
or
left
he's
with
gonna
no
fake an
choice.
injury.
Yeah, they'll find or who know. Like, listen, I don't want to go down this path, but we have already heard rumors about the latest allegation that's being some kind of manufacturization going on because they're trying to get out of the contract. I've heard all kinds of crazy things coming out of there. So who knows?
Man, you're
But
talking to a felonious owner, by the way. So
yeah, but
it's not.
regardless, I'm rooting. I would love to see Jameis Winston get a. But you know what? The thing that sucks is that I don't even think that that's a great opportunity for Jameis because I don't know that. Maybe last year, I think it would have been. I would have loved to have seen him be last year's Joe Flacco instead of Joe Flacco, but I don't think that their offense is as good this year as it was last year anyway. Um, so I don't know. The Cleveland Browns are in trouble. Even they don't even look as good defensively as I think
Yeah,
everybody expected them to. So there's that.
they're done.
Yeah, they're done. Dunskies, Dunzos.
What do you think about the Cowboys?
Oh man, the Cowboys. I don't know what to think of the Cowboys. The interesting thing is that they're going into MetLife this Thursday. The one thing I will say is that I've been hearing just from a lot of the bettors. I've been hearing a lot of confidence in the Cowboys this week, and that they own the Giants, and this is always a Cowboy spot. Dak plays well,
Warning,
and
warning, warning.
yeah, I'm not buying that. I'm not saying that I'm rushing to the window to put to bet the house on the Giants either. But what a lot of people seem to think is an obvious Cowboys kind of get right bounce back spot. That for me is an
No
absolute stay
thanks.
away. No, thank you. I don't want anything to do with that. For me, it would be Giants or nothing on that. 4.5 is no good for me. I seen that it's been bouncing between 4.5, 5.5. If it gets back up to 6.5, the way it was against the Browns, then maybe I would get involved. But 5.5 is still a little too Pepe Le
Stinky.
Pew. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay away from that one. I mean, I enjoyed getting my 3-point win with the Giants last week. And the unexpected. I thought they would cover. I didn't know if they would win, but I'm glad that they did cover. But I'm not I'm not a long term investor in the Giants just yet. But
Yeah.
and
How about the Dolphins? How cooked are they?
well, I was just reading that Mike McDaniel has not ruled out a potential quarterback change for Monday Night Football, which that
To
you want to talk to, I guess, Huntley,
oh
but you want to talk about some sticky looking lines. That line really stood out to me.
that's why I asked, because I was trying to comb through to see if anything got on my like any spidey sense on my Vegas Saints slick pick, and I was kind of looking at that as well. Something didn't. I don't I don't know what's going on there yet.
Yeah, I don't know, man. To me, with the Dolphins quarterback situation, that's probably just gonna be a stay away from me. If anything, I would probably be more interested in the Titans than I would the Dolphins. But I don't know, man. That's just a stay away. Will Levis is, you're trying to. You're really trying to send yourself into an insane asylum if you're going to be putting your money on Will Levis. I tried to. We both tried to do it this week. It was not. It was ill advised. I mean, the shame is that Tennessee has, in a lot of respects, looked like there's something there.
Yeah,
But as long as Will Levis is at the helm, I can't do it.
because he will let us down.
Yeah, exactly.
The
White
Giants is at
Richardson.
+6 right now. White Rich.
Oh, it's gotten up to
Yeah,
it's
plus
gotten up to
six.
+6. Oh wow,
Yeah.
okay. So I guess like I said, I've been hearing a lot of the big time bettors are really really interested in the Cowboys, so they must be pounding them, and that's what's
Yeah.
getting that number up.
So
But
that's a giant. That's a Giants. That's a Dallas Cowboys warning flag there.
I feel like that's
And
gonna be
even
a
with the
pros versus Joes type of
even with the
spread
Jets,
situation.
7.5, coming off of how good the Denver Broncos look. Uh, that's a Jets line right there. Packers. That's a Packers line. To me, that's a Packers line. -2.5, going off how the Vikings have looked the last you know, I don't know. It could be a thing where like they expect Jordan Love to come back, but to me, that stinks a little bit.
Only thing for me
Uh
is that I need to see Sam Darnold look good on the road against somebody that's not the Giants.
yeah.
Going into Lambeau, if you were telling me that game was being played in Minnesota, I would look at it totally differently. I think there's still something to going into Lambeau, especially as a Viking. That rivalry. I'm willing to kind of look at Sam Darnold through a different set of glasses and kind of give him a chance to actually be impressive and believe in him. I'm not sure if this is the spot. I need to see him. If he goes into Lambeau and lights it up against the Green Bay defense that has looked pretty good, then that'll really show me something. But I got to see
Yeah.
that first. I got to see
Yeah, I'm
that
trying to
first
see.
because I think that he's had the benefit of he's had the benefit of being comfortably at home, catching a banged up 49ers team on short rest coming into his building, and he's had been in the comfort of home. That game was in Minnesota, right? Yeah, the Texans game was
Yeah.
in Minnesota, and they were coming off of a pseudo short week, having played on Sunday night as well. So he's been gifted two very comfortable back to back home spots, and
Yeah.
I feel like that
That's why I
first
smell
road
the Packers
spot.
there.
Yeah, I feel like that first road spot was the Giants were just completely outclassed and outprepared. But now 3 weeks in, we're starting. Everybody's starting to shake off the rust. Everybody's kind of operating on a little bit of an even playing field in terms of the rest situation. I'm real interested in seeing what that's going to look like. what that game is going to look like. We don't even know if we're going to be getting Jordan Love, and even if we do get Jordan Love, we don't know what. Jordan Love, this could still be almost like a borderline preseason game for him, because the only game he's played, this is going to be going into week 4, and the only game he's played this year has been in fucking Brazil. So he's not exactly going to be coming in mid-season form either. So I don't know. That's a scary line and a scary spot. I don't really know what to do with it just yet. I still haven't even had a chance to catch up on all of the Sunday games, but I'm going to have to, get in the lab and really study.
I think I found my Vegas ain't slick pick, but you're gonna have to wait to see for that one. So
We're excited. I've actually already started preparing some music for the Vegas Ain't Slick Pick that hopefully I'll be completed with it by Thursday, and we can debut it then. And we will debut the Vegas Ain't Slick Pick then on Thursday. We will debut our picks for week 4 on Thursday. We will hopefully have the return of Word Life, and he has some splaining to do on Thursday about his ill-fated Patriots. You know what the weird thing, just before we close out, the one thing about, I always felt like his belief in the Patriots was rooted in Belichick. He knows Belichick's not there no more, right?
nigga, yeah.
I don't
Telling
know,
you, man, it's hard to shake off. It's like stereotypes, man.
I guess. Like, this is not, these ain't your, I can't even say your dad's Patriots, because it hasn't even been that long, but these ain't the Patriots of 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Like, I mean, they still kind of fit, they still kind of play a little bit the same way. I feel like people are getting confused, like they still kind of got the same kind of look to them, but it's like, it ain't the same. It ain't the same. I do think that, speaking of teams that have been gifted kind of fortunate spots, I also think that the Patriots got gifted some fortunate spots, taking on a Bengals team that was coming into the season a little bit disheveled, and a Seahawks team that was traveling across the country for an early kickoff. They kind of caught them in a sleepy spot. But I think that the grass is starting to get cut, and the vermin is going to start to reveal themselves, starting this week. So we'll see how it goes. Sir. Until then, right now, I in the background, I'm watching my New York Liberty. 37 seconds left, about to close out the Atlanta Dream and move on to
really, because that game's been swinging back and forth. Because I keep refreshing
they
the
pulled
ESPN
away.
app.
Yeah, they were down. They were down most of the first half, but they pulled away fourth quarter.
Nice.
Doesn't look like they're going to cover, which is good for me because I had Atlanta plus the 12. It was a scary spot. Hopefully they don't hit a fucking 3 right now and ruin my night, but we will see. And then we got Ace's Storm tonight. I got the Storm plus the 8. But until next week, or not even until next week, 2 days. In 2 days, we will reconvene. We got a big time Thursday night matchup. Hopefully, we can get in here early so we can get into a little bit of a pregame
and get the Word Life perspective and see if anything's changed.
Yeah,
see how he's feeling.
See how he's feeling about his Giants. See if there's another rant coming, because there was like a mini rant last week. It was like a little mini joint. It wasn't the full Monty, but anyhow, there you have it. Week 3 in the books. We'll be back on Thursday for the beginning of week 4, the Thursday night football preview, the picks for the week, and the contest continues. Until then,
salute.
Welcome home from the
Dublin,
land of Isles. I'm going to go have me a pint of Guinness. And, last thing, don't order an Irish car bomb in Ireland. Don't do that. That's a no-no. That's a big no-no. That's a big problem.
Well, yeah, because that's only in Belfast you can do that, right?
No, you can't do it anywhere.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, that's the IRA. Is that an IRA thing?
I think the genesis of it has a lot to do with the the war, the Protestants and the Catholics, and they're they're not into the idea of you calling Irish, making actually, you know what the funny thing that was said, what, because I asked about this, and she said, well, just kind of think of it this way, like, how would you feel if there was a drink called a 911? I was like, oh, well, I guess that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
When you put it that way. But anyhow,
And we just put a bunch of red Cabbage Patch Kids with crumbling with fucking cake crumbling, and you know what I'm saying, like,
yeah,
and red strawberry syrup all over
yeah,
on
not
top, like,
exactly
yeah.
something we would be celebrating, but
No, no, not at all. And we
you know,
wouldn't.
sometimes
we
you gotta
don't we don't
learn
have those on
learn the
July
hard way.
4th.
Some lessons have to be learned the hard way.
Yeah.
But until Thursday, peace.